Hi, everyone. I'm Helene, and welcome to the Vegan Stew. We're really happy that you're joining us. This is, I think, episode 27, 28. It's somewhere in there, but we really appreciate you. That means we've been doing this for over half of a year. And let's say thank you to our sponsor this month, which is Veg Key, which is vegan mushroom jerky that we will be selling at Nashville Veg Fest on Sunday. If you're going to be in Nashville, Tennessee, we will be there with a vegan festival. And if you want to win prizes, simply go to virtualvegfestlive.com, hit the contest tab, and you can follow your heart, Revolution Gelato, Revel Cheese, Cinnaholic, and Fabulous. Please like and support our sponsors because we love them for sponsoring us. We have a special guest this week. We have Kathy Hester with us. And if you follow me at all, you know I love Kathy Hester. And if you follow me at all, and Kathy, you know that we love kitchen implements. We love them. And this is going to be the show to learn all about all the different things. And there's some new stuff that we don't even know about that Kathy has that she's going to do show and tell from her house in Durham. She's part of our community here in the Triangle in North Carolina. And boy, I'm so excited. We can start the show as we usually do. And I'm going to bring everybody on. Remember, go to the Vegan Stew, on YouTube, and hit subscribe and the little notification bell so you know when we go live. And a follow on Facebook, all our social. That'd be awesome, including the social media from Marla Rose, Vegan Street.
Hi.
Kathy Hester, all over the place.
Everybody.
And we have Kelly Kerr from Climate Healers. And Kimberly Winters, and Did You Bring the Hummus? And our newest addition to the Vegan Stew. We are so excited. Drum roll, please.
Hello.
We have Nas Ratu, got the raw, and the Boss Fest. Yes, from Atlanta. We are so excited to have some new people. So Dana Cohen, I don't even have the comments up, but say hi to Dana. Thanks for joining us.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, there we go. Dana's there we go. Thank you, Kimberly. So the question I want to start with has absolutely nothing to do with kitchen stuff, but there is an elephant in the room. Vegan elephant, by the way, if you didn't know that, elephants are vegan. But there is an elephant in the room that I feel like we should ask a question of all of you tonight. And then in 2 weeks, we'll discuss it in more detail because there's a little thing called Roe versus Wade, and we are all of female persuasion. Some of you have had kids. So my question to you tonight is, how does it feel to learn that Roe versus Wade may be overturned? Who would like to go first? Nobody? I'm going to call on you. Oh, go ahead, Kimberly. Perfect.
Oh, that's right.
I think it feels dangerous.
Good way to put it.
I don't think I have more than that. Just very dangerous. Yeah.
Okay. Kelly, how does Canada feel about, because this doesn't impact you at all, but it could.
Oh, I'm very aware of that. I mean, we do have abortion rights here, but I'm very aware of just how quickly that they can go away. And I'm seeing Canada kind of go the way of the United States, and that we're becoming more conservative, which is like you're Republican, and I find that very concerning. Like I have this tattoo that I started, and it's based on The Handmaid's Tale, but it's a cow, and I did it because Handmaid's Tale is such a powerful show. And I see these things happening, and how our failure to speak up about, these types of rights can very easily put us in that type of society. Yeah.
Thank you. Naus?
Yeah. So the whole factor of having someone that wants to decide what we need to do with our bodies is very triggering. It's not your jurisdiction. Just like us as vegans, where we're like, in terms of drinking anything that's animal byproduct, that's not ours. It's not for us. You have no say and what we do with our bodies. It's a control issue. I have 2 children that I had via C-section. One was emergency and the other one was scheduled. To find out that they're trying to pass laws making it almost a crime for a cesarean boggles me. What is the outcome exactly? What are you if they're looking at it as like, oh, okay, well, we're going to be sticking it to them. As far as I'm concerned, we're going to have more people joining the LGBTQ community, and I'm all for it. You're just making it where, okay, where it's this is not whatever century, whatever, how far back years you are trying to take us. We are not the ones. We're not.
Right.
We're not the same, and we're going to fight this tooth and nail. It is very sad to see how much we have regressed in the last several years. It is scary. It is very, very scary. And I am worried sick for young girls. I'm worried sick.
Makes you happy that you have boys, right?
Yes. Well, it makes me happy that I had boys, but they're, I teach them too. You are to respect. You have no jurisdiction. We are very much in terms of, we don't do gender norms. I am against the toxicity. I don't do that. They're so respectful. And in my culture, you have to have that respect. So it's something that they're learning. It's something that if I ever were to find out that they have this type of thinking, they know different. They know better. So I'm just hoping, I'm just beyond flabbergasted. I'm beyond
Got you.
flabbergasted.
Got you. Marla, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm just I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Well, first of all, how I feel is angry at the world and angry at myself that this happened on my watch, that these people have been working to overturn Roe v. Wade for decades. They've been playing the long game. I think it was something we assumed wrongfully. We just kind of phoned it in and just assumed that it would be a given, So I find myself as someone who went to college, and was fairly assured my reproductive sovereignty, just heartsick and disgusted. And I am one of those vegans, I guess, who's never had any issues with the idea of terminating a pregnancy. I have no moral compunction around that. I've never have. I stand up for the rights of the viable ones who are here, the mothers, the pregnant ones. To me, there's like all kinds of overlap with forced birthing of, whether they're females, humans, or females of other species. And the last thing I was just going to say, in terms of what Naus was referring to, when Black people of color, people with uteruses have such poor outcomes with giving birth, no matter how affluent or needing resources they are, that this problem is not solved, and yet they are going to enforce forced birthing in different states, which is akin to what we did with slavery, leave it up to the states, and we know how that went. Anyway, my whole point is it's disgusting and horrible, and I just want to cry every day. That's it.
Kathy, you want to chime in?
Sure. I think like now, I'm really worried about the young women. I feel fortunate in that I'm past childbearing age. So I will say that. So that doesn't make it okay, because remember, for all the things that we hear, it doesn't have to affect you. It doesn't happen to you for you to stand up and fight for it if it's a wrong thing. And I think that's something super important to remember. I personally never had one, and I have no kids, but I was always it was nice to know that was an option.
Right.
Right. To know And I think if I personally, because I tend to take things personally and think about them that way, that's, I think it would have been a very difficult decision to make. And I'm confident I would have come to the best decision I could. I also think that them doing this has very little to do with babies, very little about when life begins. And that's not to say there are no pro-lifers who may be doing it in their mind for their own good moral reasons. Not that I'm saying I agree with them either. But my biggest worry is what comes after this. So also know if my state or your state changes it, if I can take you in my car somewhere that will be helpful, I think there will be a lot of grassroots people helping as much as they can. And it is always going to be the poorer people that are going to struggle the most. Like when I lived in New Orleans, I didn't have a car. I couldn't have just magically gone somewhere else. And so I've lived in both situations where I'm comfortable and where I'm not. And I think that it is an attack, and I wonder where the next attack, once they win this one, what's going to happen next. I'm married to a woman. I feel like that is something that could be in jeopardy. I've even heard some people saying that interracial marriage could be on the table.
Yes.
Yes.
It's all part of the whole privacy issue.
And what I find so interesting and disgusting, I really do find it disgusting. I try to keep everything think logically so I don't have a nervous breakdown. So know that I feel things, and even all through COVID, I was doing a recipe demo and I started crying when I was talking about the cashiers who are basically saving our lives and the Instacart people bringing us food. So I have to kind of keep it back a little bit for my own sanity, but I'm just really worried where this is going, because it's always about, don't take away my guns, that's a right. But women's bodies somehow are not as important, or perhaps they are more important since they keep wanting to legislate them.
That's a great point. So I feel that's Kathy's dogs. So
sorry.
I'm angry. I'm upset. I have a gut feeling like we need to leave and not stay here. And I don't mean North Carolina, I mean this country.
Right.
This is scary. And I like Kathy, I'm past having a child age, but that doesn't mean that I'm not concerned for the people who have children for many reasons. The planet, global warming, the climate change, and now loss of rights for females. It is just absolutely despicable. And the one thing I'll say to everybody, if you don't like it, vote. Vote, 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 vote. Just say it with me. Vote. You need to vote. You need to vote progressives and liberal people in, and then we will have our rights. You might not like that you lose some income, but vote. Yes, dear Marla.
I just want to say one of the aspects with voting is the right wing is making it harder and harder for our votes to count. I mean, as it is, we have the whole damn electoral college to deal with. That's just, it's a whole conversation in and of itself. But in terms of, we need to turn out in greater numbers than ever, because they're making it so difficult for our votes to matter and to count, so get other people to vote. Don't just vote.
Is that yes? Influence everybody. There's Puppy. So that's the question of the night. And like I said, in 2 weeks now, so we're going to move on. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk fully on this. We're going to do a whole show on it. So, and then your mouse is now frozen. There you go. You're back. So I want Marla, if you want to move on to the
everybody
news
was frozen.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
I know.
Yeah.
want to move on to the news part, and then I have more to say for sure. And I
this is gonna be a 2-hour special next.
It is going to
be 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So this was kind of interesting news. It was reported by Gizmodo that there's this giant dairy cooperative called Arla Foods, which is like Marla, but Arla, in the UK and Europe. And it's Britain's largest dairy and the fourth biggest in the world. So this is not like some little mom and pop thing. Anyway, they put out a press release that they're starting this campaign that's called Don't Cancel the Cow, which is funny because I think what they're trying to do is prey upon animus people have toward quote unquote cancel culture. But what they're claiming is that about half of respondents to a poll that they had in the UK of Gen Z claim that they're embarrassed or ashamed, I guess is the word, ashamed to be seen buying dairy in public, which is hysterical. And their take on it is, it's almost like a kind of a right-wing kind of assessment that this is just part of cancel culture. Of course, it spells good things for, plant-based alternatives and the cessation, eventually, the slow dying out of this forced birthing industry. But the thing that's really funny, if you read the article, a little later in the article, after they talk about these trends that are alarming to the dairy industry, they talked about how Arla Foods had a baking competition, which they do every year. In this year, it was a Swedish competition to try to come up with the best recipe for this one Swedish baked good. Anyway, a vegan bakery entered the contest and they got the most votes. And so Arla Foods just like very abruptly was like, okay, the competition is canceled this year because of COVID, even though it wasn't an in-person competition. And they said they had a thing with like the winning bakery would buy 100 of their product, their winning entry. And then they were like, and then they just said, oh, by the way, it has to be actual dairy. It has to be from cows. So they they were prepared for a vegan bakery to win that one. So anyway, I just thought it was kind of funny. It's just a sign of the times in terms of the dairy industry.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yay for the kids, the young adults for shunning dairy. That's awesome. So we have a really, really fun topic tonight. I know we started really heavy, but we're going to end on the very light end of the spectrum because I don't know about all of you. We'll say I love to cook and I like to bake and I love having different kitchen implements to use to make my cooking and my baking easier. Air fryer, Vitamix. And I understand completely that where I'm coming from is a person who has the ability to have these items in my house. You don't necessarily have to have them to make things. These just make things go faster than they would if I had like a traditional blender or an oven or like beans could be cooked in a pot instead of an instant pot. There's definitely ways to do things without, but these kitchen implements take chickpeas 20 minutes to cook and then just let them sit and get soft, or 40 minutes in the self-release. There's in the instant pot. There's so many things. Ice cream makers. There's Kathy Hester has some of the coolest stuff in her house that I have in my house. And she's got even cooler stuff now because we just learned some stuff that she has that she's going to show us and show you. Stew Crew, we need we need to let Kathy do our show and tell, and then let's just all talk about our favorite things that we've just seen because this is going to be so much fun.
I would love to interject to get something out in the world first, is that you may not be able to have the latest, greatest if it's not in your budget. And sometimes I have a latest, greatest thing that's too expensive for me to have, but the company sent it to me to do some things with. So sometimes that happens too. But I want to tell you two really great places that you can often get things at least 6 months after things start to come out, after a year or so for sure. especially look for dehydrators, blenders, coffee grinders, slow cookers at your thrift stores, right? So
Yep.
my first dehydrator is a Nesco stackable one that I see one every time I go out to the thrift store somewhere. And so usually you can get that for $10. And sometimes you can get a slow cooker for $5. And I was a musician with an orchestra that was a co-op. So let me tell you, I know what poverty can be like a little bit, you know? And so, yeah. So, and at that time, that's where I got some of the things that I have. And even if it looks like a really old food processor there, it probably will do most of the things you need it to do. And it's okay to start up from something like that or to inherit. And even beyond thrift stores, like here in Durham, we have Bowl City Shares Facebook groups. You can say, hey, does anybody have a blender? Or does anyone have an extra Instant Pot or electric pressure cooker they're not using? Because a lot of times I give things away regularly as because I get something new because I have to have the newest one for my job. And so then I kind of disseminate those to other people. But sometimes people get an air fryer, they don't use it. Also look at a free cycle. That would be another thing. Okay, so if you're not, I could pay something, I could pay probably a little more than the thrift store because I want the latest, greatest. When you go on Amazon, and this is usually on a desktop, up at the top, there's all, and you click that little button and it comes down, right? And you can say books, kitchen. There's a thing at the very top that says Amazon Warehouse.
Oh.
And it's magic. And I get a lot of my stuff there. Like you can usually get an Instant Pot or an air fryer for what is it, Amazon Day prices. So what it is someone got two, the box was crushed a little bit and they sent it back. And they will tell you, like new, good, could have some scratches on it. So in general, even though it's not used like a thrift store is used, if that makes sense, at most someone's used it once and decided it wasn't for them. So I want you guys to just think of those things as well, because while the $1,000 appliance someone sent me is probably out of most people's reach, it's like I said, it would be out of mine. And so, oh, you're so sweet. I love Apple. And it just can be very difficult, where you are to see all these cool things. Like I stopped following a blogger for a while because she did all these Vitamix recipes. And I'm like, I'm not paying $500 for a blender. Thank you. This was a long time ago.
Yep.
And that's why I bought a Ninja blender after I'd had mine. And I got mine. I think Helene knows the story. So my wife loves to buy TVs. There's two of us. So I'm like, okay, we're putting a limit on this after there was a new TV every year because we keep our fund money separately. But I'm like, let's give a number. Let's say for this time, I think I said 3 or 4 years. So you can't have another TV, even if you can be in Star Wars in virtual reality. You have to wait that long. And she really wanted one before it. And I'm like, okay, buy me a Vitamix, right? Because that's ludicrous. Guess who got a Vitamix? So you can try that too, and ask for holidays or birthdays, because like maybe your family can chip in and you could kind of put that money towards a cool appliance. So I'll be quiet now, but everybody can have something for sure.
Oh, for sure. And Marketplace is great. I've sold stuff on Marketplace. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Amazon warehouse, though. When you go to buy something on Amazon, always scroll down in the description, because there may be a little thing that says buy this for less, or refurbed, or used. You can scroll down, and then the price can be like the Ninja air fryer that I have downstairs. It's teal, was refurbished through Woot, and Woot is owned by Amazon.
Woot.com is awesome.
Woot.com is I've been following Whoop for a long time now, then since 2009. So, and they got bought out by Amazon because they were that cool. So there's so let's just start with a question because then it'd be the best thing. Well, I think we've talked about this a little bit, but we'll do it again. Favorite kitchen appliance? Marla.
Food processor.
Oh, Nelson, food processor. Got it?
Yeah.
I was like, I know that voice. Marla,
I'm
what's your
a
favorite?
ventriloquist. I would say the thing I use the most is not necessarily my favorite. I don't know, but I use the air fryer and the Instant Pot every day, every damn day, and the blender like 2 or 3 times a
What's
day.
your favorite? I'm gonna make you choose. What's your favorite?
Why are you doing this to me?
Because I have to do it when you're done.
I would say probably my blender. I love the freaking blender. And I do, like, I was a vegan for many years before I sort of bit the bullet and got the fancy Vitamix, and having, a KitchenAid blender or a cheaper blender didn't stop me from making anything, so please don't feel like it really is a peeve of mine when people say, about you have to get X, Y, or Z. Oh, you must, if you want to be vegan, you have to get this item. You don't have to. I've been vegan since 95 when we were basically like rubbing sticks together. So I think you'll be fine. So anyway, that's all I'll say. But so probably the blender would be the thing I'd be the most lost without having.
Kelly.
If you asked me a couple months ago, I would have said the Breville XL food processor, but I'm so late in the game with air fryers, and we took it out and we used it, and I'm completely obsessed with it now. So it's an air fryer.
Okay, got you. Kimberly.
I just got a Vitamix like 2 months ago. And I made one of the first things I made in it was cashew cream sauce. And it was the smoothest, most beautiful, silkiest sauce I'd ever made. So it's got to be the Vitamix.
Now you thrown it out there. Do you want to say it?
Well, I kind of wanted to touch upon Kathy and Marla. When I first started, also 95, I was in high school when I became vegan. I used in terms of a blender was just like a Black & Decker, just standard blender. Whatever works. And then I was able to get a Vitamix when they were actually doing payment plans. And I was able to get one. And they don't do it anymore, so I was like super, super lucky. But again, you just want something that will do the work, you don't necessarily want something that's too pricey, can get it done. But my favorite appliance besides, I have a Cuisinart food processor, which I love, the 12 cup. I have the black on black KitchenAid stand mixer with the attachment that makes sheets. And I love it. Everything is black in my house. Everything. The name says it all. So my appliances, all of them are all black.
I want a picture.
Of course. I will
do
send pictures.
Do you have any appliance tattoos? Those stickers that go on?
Oh, I've seen those before.
I have some, but I haven't put it on.
Yeah, No, I don't have those.
Oh, I'm wishing them for you right now.
Look on Etsy; they have some really cute ones.
The reactions
Oh, I'm gonna
to
check
now
that out.
talking about that was just from Marla and Kathy were like, oh. It was fantastic. I have to say my Vitamix. The Vitamix will actually be traveling to Nashville with us tomorrow. I mean, air fryer has traveled with us too, but I make smoothies for everyone in the morning, so our whole team gets a smoothie, and that's some people drink coffee and eat caffeine in the morning. Helene needs a smoothie. Otherwise, I'm not a happy person. So it just does what it needs to do for me. So that's awesome. So Kathy, let's do some show and tell so we can all gawk and geek.
I was going to say my favorite is whatever I'm obsessed with at the moment. So it changes. But I love my Vitamix. I love my air fryer. I love my Instant Pot. I have a love-hate relationship with my food processor. So like now, so I have a spiralizer and a sheet maker for my KitchenAid. And I even have a shredder on there too.
Yes.
It's got to be worth it to get that food processor out. I've got a Cuisinart. Does the stuff get stuck in the lid on yours?
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes me angry.
Yeah.
I may have happy rainbow unicorn, but don't be messing with the cleaning up.
So, Kathy, I'm going to make you like I made Marla. Pick one. What's your favorite?
Right now, absolutely, it's the Ninja Creamy.
No,
No, it's whatever
was
I'm
that?
obsessed with at the moment. I could, like, right before I got that, it would have been the smaller, less expensive Ninja smoothie bowl maker. I will
that's
drop you
awesome.
like a hot potato when I find something new.
I just want to go back to what
Tell us
Marla.
about.
Going back to what Marla said,
Yeah.
was like you said you had like a regular blender. That's my accent. My blender, like before you went to the Vitamix. The day my Vitamix came, my like regular type blender was like blowing smoke. Like it burned up.
Same.
It burned up.
Same.
So I was like, it was perfect timing. It just because I made a smoothie every day. It just all of a sudden there was a smell and it was burning. I was like,
Oh,
my
man.
Vitamix refurbished was my first Vitamix. I bought one refurbished. I don't think I bought a new one. I think I've always done refurbished. A couple of comments before we move forward. Dana, Woot is WOOT.com, Woot.com. Patricia, not surprised your favorite appliances are Vitamix and air fryer. And let's see, Conscious Eating Consulting said they refurbished Vitamix that they've used every day since 2015. I totally relate to that.
One thing, I was at Costco today, and if you're looking for a Vitamix, you should know they have it on sale for $2.99. It's not this.
Wow.
It's not my exact same
Wow.
model. And here, let me see if I can change my. I'm gonna look real weird probably for a minute,
No,
maybe
that's
more
great.
than a minute, huh? Okay, so you can kind of see in here, and it's kind of similar. I think it's a newer model than mine. It also comes with, for the $2.99. So this is an attachment that goes on here,
Yeah,
so that you can use. It comes with two little cups.
I have that one.
Do you guys ever complain about, I can't do that quarter cup of whatever in there? And so what happens is you put your stuff in here. I'm always tempted to go like this, which is wrong. And then it just screws on, just like a Ninja or a NutriBullet or any of those. And then that sits in here, and you can do on the inside. But I just wanted to let you know, if you have a Costco membership or a friend that does, that's a really good price. That's a better price than what I'm seeing on Amazon for just the machine, or sometimes just the refurbished machine. So it's new, and it comes with these things. And so you need to know that. Things you need to know. Right?
Kathy, I'll add on to that. Costco also has a sale on the Ninja air fryer right now. And it's got the two sides. So it's the 10 pound, not the 8 pound, the one that I have. And as I mentioned, I got the 8 pound teal one for $99 refurbished. The brand new 10 pound one at Costco, which I just helped Milton Mills purchase, it was $139. In the store, it's $149, which is weird because they ship it for free. But online, it's $139. Brand new, which is only $39 more than I paid for a smaller model, a different color. But it looks really cool because we saw it in the store, and then I'm hoping really happy with it because I'm curious as to what he made first. So,
Hey, Kathy, can you tell us about the Ninja Creamy?
Yes, and I just wanted to show you this really quick. This is the little Ninja that's like $100, and let's see if you see it better overhead, or maybe to the side. Let me switch cameras really quick. This comes with this smoothie bowl. That's not the one I want. This is the one I want. And so you can turn it. So it's almost like the Blend Tech with that wild blade. And so I've been able to make peanut butter and stuff with this.
Nice.
And then this is my little spice grinder I bought separately that you have to get from them or Walmart or different places. They come in and out. But now I will promise you I will talk about the Creamy because I'm excited. But just this is a pretty high powered blender. It's not as expensive or as durable as the Vitamix. So the Ninja Creamy is kind of a weird little guy. And I've got some, I figured we'd make some of this. So it has a special, let's go to the side camera again. It has these special little feet. Can you guys see kind of there?
Yeah.
And what that does is that seats into here so it doesn't move around, right? So we're going to put it in here. We're going to do something else. We're going to put this lid on, and then it goes into this machine. So my friend had a fancy name, and I don't know what, I guess if you're a pastry chef, they have these thousands of dollars machines that come by and basically are like little ice shavers. So that's what's inside here is the little ice shaver. And it comes out, it's not sharp. So it's a kind of like the Vitamix. I think it has to do with power, but it makes things really creamy. Like, so when I go through and I use the Yonana, and I'm not trying to bash anybody who loves the Yonana either. I just, every time I open that thing up, some fungus is growing in there because I've missed something because it's gray, and then the banana's gray, and then it's, and I'm a little OCD, a little germophobic, so it freaks me out. This machine is between $169 and $199. The one at Costco, I think, was $179. It includes 3 of these. I have bought extra ones so I could make like 10 and then just spin it, which is what we're going to do in a minute. So let me show you from overhead. We'll do the whole Is this okay to do the whole process? You guys are okay with this?
We're,
okay.
I think, really happy.
Okay, good. So see how it's got a bump? It needs to be flatter. And I let this sit out for about 15 minutes. I cleaned my counter, don't worry. And then I'm just going to kind of make it a little more even. It's, you know, we don't need to get like the laser leveler out or anything, but that's going to keep the blade from going askew and maybe into the plastic. So what's in here is bananas I mashed with a masher, some vanilla creamer, because that's what I had. These bananas were pretty sweet, so I didn't need to add any extra sugar, but you could add a liquid sweetener or make like whatever kind of simple syrup you want. Okay, so we're going to put this in here. And then, they've rearranged themselves. So this goes on a certain way. See how it has the little lock and it says, hello. And I always have to jiggle it to get it on right. Oh, I'm still not on right. This guy must not be in. He was not in right. So everything has to get assembled perfectly because there's a little thing that comes out here that goes through the middle of it. So, okay. And now we'll come back out to the front. Now we'll come back out to the front. So what happens is once it's in here, I push it up and it clicks. And so I'm going to press power. And depending on, you can read more about it. So sorbet is typically harder, heavy sugar. Ice cream or custard is heavy fat. So sometimes I have to guess because there's no fat in this except for what was in maybe a quarter cup of vanilla cream, or I've used just regular unsweetened almond milk. And so I'm just going to do ice cream. So what's going to happen for like the next 2 or 3 minutes is it's going to slowly go down through there. And if I can mute myself and you guys can talk about things or ask questions.
That's so awesome. I was just going to mention, I got a KitchenAid years ago when my husband and I got married as a gift. And the thing that's, KitchenAid mixer, I should say. The thing that's so remarkable and just blows my mind about it is the company has figured out all these little attachments all these years later, now that people are making all this cool stuff in their kitchens. So you don't have to buy these big bulky standalone things. You can get, like, I think KitchenAid has a spiralizer attachment. Now they have an ice shaver attachment. They have a pasta rollers that can be just simply screwed onto your KitchenAid mixer. So I just think that's ingenious and very cool. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
One
so
of,
cool.
one of my like newest things in the house actually is we have a countertop composter,
Mhm.
which is like really brand new because I got it off of either Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I can't remember which, but it's basically everything goes in there except for big things like avocado pits or date pits, but everything else goes in there. And I paper compostable paper as well, and I set it to the right setting. And in 5 hours or so, I have stuff to throw into the yard because I'm not a
That's so
gardener.
cool.
So, but it feels really good to know that it goes in there and I have this composting on the countertop as opposed to putting all the stuff into the container, which would sit and then because my composting style is it goes into my yard. It goes over the deck into the backyard because I don't have neighbors. So, and the one neighbor I have is vegan and he does the same thing. So that's one of like the newest things, which is ultra cool. It's by
That's
Pella.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
yeah, highly recommend. Well, I highly recommend composting because it's a good thing for the planet.
Yeah.
It looks like we have some. Kathy
I
has some.
know. Where's my sample?
I know there's more. Come on over. But basically, these, and I just made this. It's pretty creamy, and if I use things like pine, usually I do mostly fruit and then just a little bit of milk. Obviously, almond milk, oat milk, any kind of non-dairy milk that you want to use, sweetened or unsweetened. And you can do lots of other things with it too. But I just find this texture is just a nicer texture. So
Excellent. So does it I'm sorry, were the bananas already frozen?
nope. And
So
actually,
how does it get cold?
here, allow me to make one for you. I'm always prepared. So basically what I did for this, probably about 3 really ripe, gooey bananas, because the riper they are,
Yeah, the sweeter.
the less I have to use something with them. I made some cantaloupe mint as well, and with the cantaloupe, basically the juice from it worked out pretty well. So I'm just going to put a few of these in. I'm going to mash it, then I add some almond milk and a little bit of vanilla, or you could put other fruits. So what happens is this is the opposite of a Yonana, where you freeze the fruit first and then you put it into stuff. You also can make smoothie bowls. So I can make a smoothie or put leftover smoothie in here and freeze it. You freeze it for 24 hours and then it gets mixed up in there. Could I do this in the blender instead of this way? Absolutely. I'm just doing it for less cleanup and fast.
Right.
I've made it with mango, vanilla yogurt, mint, a little bit of rose water, made a mango lassi. I have made cantaloupe mint. I made chocolate. I have some dragon fruit smoothie bowls. Let's do another banana. And just
so in a way, this is a little closer to a traditional ice cream maker in that you blend the ingredients and you put them in the freezer. I mean, in the sense that it gets frozen later.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because like no matter which one, like the Yonanas you freeze things first, this you freeze things first.
Right.
If you're going to do any kind of heat, like let's say we were going to make this and make a simple syrup with it or something, that's where we're getting into a little more, because I have an ice cream maker with a compressor and all that means is it freezes it. But what happens still is it's not ready to eat. it's ready to go in the freezer. So if I make something without oil or without traditional sweeteners, it freezes hard as a rock. Have you guys noticed that? If you've made nice cream, no. Let me go put you on mute for just a second.
Dog's like, I know nice cream.
I've had that.
I don't know why Cheryl likes to go in and out, especially when I'm online, and she just went back out again. So
It's
anyhow,
okay.
but the dogs can eat this too. You can make banana ice
Yeah.
cream. And let me show you. So I'm just putting in, there's a little line here. And I just basically put the vanilla and the almond milk in here. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. He is not happy. Oh, we have a kitty who hopefully is a neighbor kitty that we've been feeding that we're about to find out. So I think he just saw. And Max likes all the things in their places, like more than most dogs even. So what would happen is I would just put this in here, put a cover on it, and then I've got these cool pens that are wet erase markers instead of dry erase markers, so that I can come on here and then go banana, and I think I did 4, probably about a half a cup almond milk, and about a teaspoon of vanilla. And so while I'm doing my experiments, this works out really well for me, because so I can have 12 of these in the freezer, pull out one like I did, let it sit for about 10 or 15 minutes so I can scrape the top off well, right? So does that make sense? Do you guys have questions for me?
Yeah.
It's weird.
No,
Well,
it
I
makes
like
sense.
weird.
It's different.
No, that's really cool.
It is. I'm kind of lusting after one myself now. I just,
you're on
I
mute.
feel like I'm.
Kathy, you're on mute.
Oh,
Christina.
If you get the one on Costco, it comes with 3 of these instead of 2.
yeah.
And so what I'm doing now is I'm actually, so I only used half of it. I can press it down smooth again and put it in the freezer, and I can spin it again tomorrow.
Nice.
And
That's
these
cool.
are plastic, and they're not cheap, these guys. So I would get as many as you can. They're usually, I get mine at Bed Bath & Beyond because there's a 20% coupon, and 2 of them are $20. But you'd pretty much have to smash them pretty hard. That's the only thing right now, because you have to have exactly that kind to fit in these holes. So there's not, I don't have a workaround for it yet. But if it becomes popular, remember the Milthy pots fit into the Instant Pot. And I suspect whatever comes after this will fit into this machine as well.
Right. Mhm.
But what I like about it is the ability to make refined sugar-free, dairy-free, creamy treats.
Right.
Especially as it becomes summer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's fabulous.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
I have one of the ice cream makers that has the ability to freeze while it's spinning, as opposed to having to put it into the freezer and then put it in and then spin. So I have one of those on top of my fridge. I don't make a lot of ice cream, but once or twice a year, it's fun. It's definitely because I actually use Kim Campbell's recipe from Plant Pure Nation. I used her recipe, which is refined sugar free. It's made with maple syrup. It's really good. And I just play with that. The other thing that I love doing, and this is because of COVID, and is I make my own plant-based milks.
Same.
So I bought an almond cow. I spent the money on the almond cow over COVID because I wasn't going to the store and I was buying almond milk or oat milk or whatever milk. And this is ridiculous. It's cheaper for me to buy almonds and, cashews and coconut shreds and oats that I can turn into milk. And I started doing a whole bunch of different recipes. I was doing like almond, coconut, cashew. I was like, and then I had to dehydrate the rest of it because I felt throwing it out over the deck, as you know, compost. But I'm now at cashew milk, because cashew milk, I can, once it's done, I can take out the guts, that's in there, and I can put that back into the Vitamix, and I can make more cashew milk from it. So there's no waste whatsoever for me,
Right.
and that's one of my favorite things. Anyone else have a
I was
favorite
going to
thing?
mention
Yeah.
a little hack that I have is like if you don't have a fancy ice cream maker and you have some frozen bananas on hand, you can chop them up with a nice sharp knife, put them in your food processor with milk and just pulse it. And you're not going to get these extraordinary results, but you will get a delicious, creamy, sweet treat very quickly.
Yeah, add frozen cherries to that. Nouse, I saw your hand.
Oh yeah. See, you were talking about fruit and cherries, and you just threw me all off. Now I'm just thinking about an ice cream. Making the milks. That's what I've started doing. I love to, of course, like experiment with like the different flavor profiles. In terms of making milks. So one of the things that I've done is like a blueberry lavender hemp milk. I've done a spiced milk, like a chili milk. I know it sounds weird, but I've done like almost like a horchata kind of. I've done just so many infusions, and it's really easy. And taking that pulp, like I use a nut bag from Ellie's Best, and I actually take that, and I have a dehydrator, and I will dehydrate that and then put it back in the food processor or in my blender and make flour, because I bake all the time. So the kids see milk and then they see the flour and they're like, that's going for cookies. They're ecstatic. Like, no waste whatsoever. We're good.
Now,
Yeah.
what are you making your milk in?
I go ahead and soak like whatever I'm using. Normally I like to do like a half and half blend. So I have been really obsessed with pepitas. So I do like a cashew and then a pumpkin seed. And I just soak them, and then I will use my Vitamix. That's all that I will do. Then use it, and then strain it in the nut bag from Ellie's Best, which is a phenomenal nut milk bag, and it's just completely reusable and really great. I had my share. I used to use cheesecloth, and that was fun. But now that I discovered the nut bags are just like the best thing ever, and it's just really more like convenient to make it your own. You're saving a lot of money by like I go to Sprouts and I'll just bulk, with nuts or the farmer's market, and it's what you're putting into it too. There's no gums and things like that, and it's healthier. It's worth it.
I think the thing with making milk, which is what I do in my blender, is I'm not making like a quart or what. I'm just making, servings that I'm using then, or because otherwise they separate because they don't have like all the additives and stuff like that, I guess. But anyway, the point is if you're using the blender, it might be a different situation. Yeah, Kathy, you're on mute.
I know. I didn't want to interrupt you. I want to say something about the separating. So I make oat milk at home, which is not super popular because it doesn't last as long as the nut milk. So if you're making it for the week, it only lasts about 3 or 4 days, but also it separates immediately. I use about a half a teaspoon of chia seeds that I actually blend with the water, and anything else but oats, you can blend it ahead of time. You don't want to over blend the oats because then that helps the slime happen. But I did some with strawberry powder. So I made like strawberry quick, vegan strawberry quick, which was so exciting. And I had it in the fridge for like 4 days and it did not separate at all. None.
Oh my God.
So another way to keep it from separating is to get sunflower lecithin. Yep, a tiny bit, and also in plant-based ice creams as well, to keep it from being icy. So it takes a tiny bit of it, in there. I put it in. I actually, if I remember, I put it into the cashews before I put the almond
Yeah.
cow thing on, and it doesn't separate because of that.
Great advice.
It's
I use
really
the
good.
sunflower lecithin for making chocolate too.
That's a good idea. Kelly,
Yeah.
Kelly, you have to join in on this conversation. You have a cooking show.
Mhm.
I was just gonna say it's so interesting that Kathy talked about the strawberry crick because I don't make my own nut milks, and I've been wanting to make my own nut milks, and I was looking just like last week about how to make strawberry vegan milks, and I was wondering like how to do that, and I thought, oh, maybe I should like, because I didn't want. I was looking at recipes and they were all like just blending fresh strawberries. I'm like, I don't want that, and I was thinking of buying like strawberry powder, like freeze dried powder.
Make it. It's so it's so much cheaper to make it. Like literally, I took some strawberry. I did this for a dehydrator class. I sliced some strawberries. I put them in. I went to sleep. I woke up and I put them in the spice grinder. Ta-da! I did lemon powder. I did all the citrus fruits and some berries.
And you can get that dehydrator at the thrift store because it is definitely one of those things that people buy and go, I'm never going to use this. Kimberly, I see it. Oh, sorry,
Kathy,
Mama.
I think you mentioned this, but also look on Facebook Marketplace for
I said
new
that. Yep.
in the box stuff, especially after like Christmas.
Kimberly.
So we have a Nutramilk, which we haven't used in a while. It's collecting dust. But now I'm feeling super inspired to start using it again. But unrelated to making milks and ice cream and whatnot, just wanted to say that for me, as much as I love my Vitamix and my KitchenAid mixer, the most important thing that I have learned in the kitchen is to have a really good, sharp chef's knife. You can do everything as long as you have your trusty knife with you.
Yeah.
And you can pick up dull ones at the thrift store and take them to a proper knife sharpener if they're a good knife. And you have sometimes a $200 knife for $5 or $10.
Right.
Yeah. You may want to make sure that the tang goes all the way through. Got the little screws and stuff. So that's how you know that that's a quality knife that you can go get sharpened.
Oh, okay.
That's
cool.
really.
I remember Molly Katzen on her old cooking show. She used to say that people are much more likely to get cut by a dull knife than a sharp knife when they're in the kitchen because you're like, stumbling around with it, trying to saw.
Yeah. Or it slips
so
because it can't get in. Yeah.
Right. You're safer to have a sharp knife.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I have a Cutco knife that I love, and it's lifetime warranty for Cutco. And I've threatened to bring that when we travel. I haven't yet because I was like, I want to bring my own knife. So I haven't. It's obviously that's a much smaller footprint than the other appliances that I put into the car. But I haven't. I also, when I travel, I also bring my soda stream so I can make my own seltzer. So that's definitely coming, and the Vitamix is definitely coming tomorrow. So
I was just gonna say I have never met a garlic press that worked like I see it in my vision as it's supposed to work. But I got this one handy dandy. I think it's less than $15. It's by Joseph at Sur La Table. And it's just it's a garlic mincer that is that what you have? Okay, that you just kind of move back and forth, and it's not fully without challenges here and there, but it works far better than your average garlic press. Kathy,
I got mine at the thrift store for $1.
But yeah, these are awesome. You don't have the same pain in the ass with cleaning out a garlic press where half of it is still embedded in. So these things are fabulous. Yeah.
And you get to take out your frustrations. Mine's really heavy, so you go, huh, and then you get to switch it. And so it's really, I don't know, it relieves a lot of stress.
Yes, I see your finger. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just like, when you said the press, so I like to do a lot of my shopping for kitchen things to use in the kitchen in terms of appliances, just in random places. I have a lot of Victorian cookware as well that I like. But one of my friends was like, she saw this item and she was like, if I don't get this for Nos, they're gonna be mad at me. It is she found it on Amazon. It is a Dracula garlic mincer. Like that's what you do to cut it. Yeah,
I
it's a
need
little
it. I need it so
vampire,
bad. You've got to send
and
me
you
where you
press,
got
and
it.
it'll chop it up. And it's the cutest thing, and it's efficient. It's not doesn't cost a lot. It is really 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 cool.
Where did she
Just
find this? Where did your friend find
Amazon.
it?
Amazon.
Okay.
I need
It's on
some
Dracula
Amazon.
garlic crust. Okay.
Yes, it's a
Your
Dracula
affiliate
garlic
link.
mincer. It's so cute. It looks like a Funko Pop thing. Like it's like that size, and it's got little teeth and little the what do you call it? The bow and a little cape. And I'm just like,
The cape thing. I need
yes. It was really cool.
That is so. Kathy, do you have handy like the dragon for the Instant Pot?
I do. It doesn't fit some of the newer models, but I got this on Etsy. So what happens is like the Instant Pot Duo, it fits on. So it fits on where that little circle thing
Yeah.
is, right? Where you go and you put it
The
on
steam.
and it
Mhm.
goes. It becomes a party favor. I did that in a lot of lives. But it's
Oh,
so
that's
cute,
so cool.
isn't it?
Oh, I need that.
Oh man, I've
And
got
someone
like
just 3D printed
a
it.
list going.
I know. I just got some
You got me
new.
so excited I knocked my computer off. That's so cool.
So a couple of the comments, conscious eating. Let me see. Conscious eating said that one of their chef knives they've used for 50 years, Solingen. It's a best investment. Everything's a best investment. And agree, best appliance is a great knife from Dana. So we obviously agree with you. Another thing, I know we're gonna wrap up soon, but also what's important is what you're cooking in. So your cookware matters. I did splurge and bought the Kitchen Craft cookware, which is the waterless cooking, and it's made some of the best vegetables and potatoes I've ever had. And it's literally it's no water. It is amazing. And you can use them like, making pasta and everything. But I see Kimberly's like, how do you do that? So basically the seal, they're American made. So if that matters to you. And the pot is heavy, like heavy, whatever the metal is. It's not aluminum. It's steel. It's steel. And then you put everything in, you wash everything, you put it in. So there's a little bit of condensation on your fruits and veggies. And you put a whole bunch of different stuff in there. I normally do onions and garlic and cauliflower and potatoes and carrots. So things that tend to be the same thickness that matters. And then you put it on the stove and you bring it to the point where it's heated up, where the cover will get loose and spin around. And then you take it off the stove and you let it sit, and it forms a tight seal at that point. So when you go to take it off about 15 minutes later or 20 minutes later, whatever the time frame is for those veggies that you put in there, it'll be hard to pull off. And once you put it's amazing because the onion and the garlic infuses into the vegetables that are in it. And it's just, it's incredible. And you kind of look at this at shows because they're one of our vendors. You look at it in the shows and you're like, yeah, they're doing that. No, it really works at home. It really works. And this is the type of stuff that I don't have kids, but I'm going to like, this will outlive me. It'll probably outlive my nephew. So it'll
Can you
go
put me in
to,
your will?
it's probably gonna. We're probably too close in age, but that's my hope. So I'm thinking, my nephew's kids, that still go to them. So the cookware apple is called Kitchen Craft. It's called Kitchen Craft. So you can check them out. They'll be coming to some of our events this year. So is there anything else to crew that you want to add to this conversation tonight before we close up? Because it's been a lot of fun. It's everything I expected it to be. There's even more. We didn't even talk about air fryers. We didn't even Just because Kathy's so far removed from an air fryer, I think at this point she's on to ice cream.
No. I have my Breville over here. I've been doing dehydrating and some other things. So what's cool about working with appliances is then it can take you down some different cool paths. Like once you have a blender, you can do some things you couldn't maybe do before. But I agree. All you need is a knife, a cutting board, or something to cut on. A lot of things, if you're just starting out, you can get a lot of things with your budget at the thrift store, and go to more than one thrift store if you're in a larger area like I am. So like I could do 10 thrift stores and I could come back. I actually often find tofu presses that I've given away. $50 tofu press I've gotten for like $3.
That's awesome.
So Stephen just said you need at least 7 men dollars in your kitchen at any time. Because he was like, I really want to. We got cantaloupe or honeydew. And he was like, I really want to make melon balls. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I probably have one of those. And we have so many. I'm working. I'm doing my best, and Kathy will be happy to hear. I'm doing my best to give away or sell the excess that I have of things. Yeah. One of them was my mom's, and my mom has been gone. How old am I? 52. My mom died when I was 21. So one of them is actually from my mom. So that stuff I have a lot of things that were my mom's, which are older than some people on this show. So it's the emotional part, but somehow I've acquired multiple more melon ballers.
Sometimes things like that happen. And I mean, like I always feel like I have to be the voice of reason about where you get these things inexpensively, because I probably have 7 Instant Pots and 5 slow cookers, 3 blenders, 4 air fryers. Do you know what I mean? So, and I always try to make it really clear that I'm a recipe developer. I did a book on air fryers or a book on this. And so that's a different thing. And you know what? You don't always have to have the Instant Pot electric pressure cooker, or the whatever is the thing of the moment either. But just make things that are fun. Like air fryers are fun because that gives us crispy foods, especially if someone's used to having bacon on everything. You can make 8,000 kinds of vegan bacon in your air fryer. You can make it in your oven too. You just have to be a little more mindful. And I like not being mindful, that I can just walk away. That's why I love the slow cooker and the Instant Pot so much. It's like, let me put that on and go take an hour walk, right? Let me just go do whatever I want to do. So that's what's a plus. And if you feel like you aren't allowed that kind of convenience, remember slow cookers, which are not as hot and cool and groovy as some of these other things, still let you put food together in the morning when you leave to work and come home and have a meal. So appliances are fun when you can afford them, but you can also get some inexpensive ones that can help you when you're working to build up that kind of cushion.
Right.
And slow cookers are fantastic. Again,
I love slow
and
cookers.
I have a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old. You would think that, the freaking Atlanta Hawks or Falcons are in this house by the way that they eat. And so
they're going to get bigger and hungrier too.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. Really? Oh, great for me. I am not looking forward to that whatsoever. I will put a job application in their birthday cards next. But slow cookers are like, they're just the best. And I, like you, Kathy, I'm a recipe developer as well, trying to tighten things or finish things up with my cookbook and, some other things that I'm, really, really busy with in school. So that is absolutely perfect. And doing anything that's one pot meals, especially for, just like you said, when you're busy, it's great.
Casserole, soups.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much to you, crew. This has been lively and fun. And just so you know, Kathy has books for sale. that you can go to virtualvegfestlive.com. We'll plug that and you can buy them because Kathy goes live and next thing you know, books are selling. She is the she is the what's the best words? It's late, so I lose my words. The best selling items on virtualvegfestlive.com are Kathy Hester. So
Because you
it's
mentioned them. So now when you're getting your book, you need to contact me and I will give you some hints on things to do for sure. Because I've been
Sweet.
Marla's been doing books far longer than I have, but I've been doing books since 2010. Right?
Ooh.
I think
When
that's
was your
longer than
first
me. That's
book?
longer than me.
Really?
Uh, yeah,
I
I
thought I
don't
had
know.
one of yours like a long time ago.
Was it an essay collection or a cookbook?
I thought it was a cookbook, but I could be wrong. But that's how I associate you in my middle-aged lady brain. So who knows if
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, my thing is I just like creating. I don't like selling. So once it's done, I'm just kind of like, okay, bye. And that's not very smart.
Here's one thing I'll jump out after this, and I just want to say this to you guys on the panel and anybody who's listening who is also trying to create things to help the vegan community, because and especially who maybe, I don't know, I feel like women do this more than men. It's not only women though. We tend to go, oh, but I don't want to sell it. But you made it to help someone. So basically,
Right.
your job isn't done when it's finished. Your job is done when it's in someone's hand and it's really helping them. So for me, it made me able to go and cry and talk about it so I could get it into those hands. And then the people who don't want it, they don't care. It goes in one ear and out the other. It's not like they go, oh, Marla, I'm never gonna listen to her again. No, they're just like, hey, not for me. They move on with it. And we tend to sit with those things and go, oh, did I say that too much? Did I do this too much? And it's like, no, you didn't. I can almost guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
and that comes from also the person who helps people go live, do live video, and the fact that Kathy was a champ. The dog was barking and Cheryl was going in and out. One of the biggest things about being live, which is one of the things I prefer, is that we're all human and stuff happens. Dogs bark, power goes out, tornado warnings, cats ripping earbuds out of your ears. Anything can happen. And that's the charm of it, because guess what? You're reaching people where anything can happen on their end as well. And they like to see people that are human and not perfect. And Kelly goes live too. Kimberly goes live. Everybody on this panel goes live or does something, where you reach people. And that's some of the best advice that Kathy could give that I've clearly learned.
Well, I think you're going live, you're able to connect with people as if you were talking to them in person. At first, it feels really weird. And so everyone who doesn't know me thinks, oh, Kathy, she's just a natural. No, I struggled with this. This was not easy for me to feel so comfortable. But it's so worth it because you reach so many more people. And I feel like my little part of the vegan plant-based community, they're so lovely. And it's like we're all friends having coffee, hanging out. Do you guys feel like that when you're doing lives too?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's the best part.
Well, awesome. That's a great note to close out on. So thank you everybody for another awesome stew. And say goodnight to Marla. And thank you, Kathy, for joining us. You're incredible. And thank you, Kelly. And thank you, Kimberly. And now thank you. And hopefully next week or the week after, you can give a little intro into your vegan, why you're vegan, because we've all done that in our first show, and they want to hear about you too. We'll get you up on the website and everything. So thank you, Nouse. So everyone, thank you again for watching The Vegan Stew. We really appreciate you being part of the conversation. I honestly have no idea what the conversation is going to be like next week. I don't remember. It'll get posted in a little bit. But in 2 weeks, we're changing the conversation to talk more about women and reproduction and forcing pregnancy. Because, it doesn't just happen in humans, it happens in cows too. That's the dairy industry. So we're going to have a conversation. We're going to tie the veganism together to what's going on, very current events in our world. So you can tune in 2 weeks for that. Thank you. We've just started having guests. So thanks to Kathy Hester for joining us and sharing her show and tell, which we absolutely loved. Thank you to VegKey for sponsoring Virtual Veg Fest Live and our shows this month. And remember, you can do yoga on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can watch Kimberly on Mondays. And you can, is that everything? And Coach Kayla the first Wednesday of the month. And of course, the stew every Wednesday except for the first Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Nashville Veg Fest, Nashville, Tennessee, this Sunday, May 15th, 11 to 5 at the fairgrounds. That's where we're heading, and we're super excited about it. Be safe, be kind, take care of yourselves, and remember, kindness matters. Bye.